What's going on, beautiful people? It is I, your flying locomotive and faster than a speeding bullet SuperCliff, coming at you live with a brand new video. So word on the street is that MarvelStudios is wanting to develop a new Thor movie, Thor 5. Now keep in mind, with everything that's happening in regards to the strike, no one really knows what's happening behind the scenes. Is Taika Waititi coming back to direct? Is Thor 5 going to be Chris Hemsworth's final film as the God of Thunder? Nobody knows anything. However, if I were a betting man, I would feel pretty confident in saying that MarvelStudios is down to make Thor 5. Say what you will about Thor Love and Thunder, but at the end of the day, the movie did make money. But with that said, the general consensus amongst Marvel fans and general audiences was that Thor Love and Thunder turned out to be a massive disappointment from a movie perspective. Therefore, let's say whenever the strikes end, KevinFeige officially announces Thor 5. Well, for this video, I'm going to talk about how Marvel should approach Thor 5 so that it works as a film and is able to get over the baggage from Thor Love and Thunder. So let's do it. When it comes to Marvel's portrayal of Thor, it didn't start off with love at first sight. Sure, Chris Hemsworth embodied the character, and yes, his acting was great in terms of what he was given, but when it comes to his movies, his world, and the supporting characters surrounding Thor, aside from Loki, the general audience didn't particularly care for the Shakespearean approach. Now, Feige, being the boss that he is, knew this to be the case, especially during the fallout that came from Thor: The Dark World. No, Thor 2 isn't some crime against humanity like The Room or Troll 2, but for the longest time, Dark World was considered to be the black sheep of the MCU. Critically, it was the MCU's worst movie, until Love and Thunder, Quantumania, and the Eternals came, but I digress. Basically, Thor was a character who needed a shakeup, and Feige was well aware of that. He knew that Thor needed a new coat of paint per se, similar to what Marvel did with Captain America and Captain America the Winter Soldier, where it solidified Steve Rogers as a character for the MCU, Steve being a man at a time, and how does a person from the 40s live in a world where black and white is much more gray in terms of morals? Thor Ragnarok is the Captain America the Winter Soldier of Phase 3. Alas, Marvel brings in New Zealander director Taika Waititi, the man who brought you What We Do in the Shadows and Hunt for the Willow People, to take on Thor's third installment. Instead of it being a Shakespearean session with dull colors and zero character arcs, a movie that doesn't have anything to say, Taika inserts his comedic take. He adds in a new and more colorful palette for the movie's look. And heck, he even gives Thor a new haircut. But at the end of the day, Taika in the script, unlike in Thor 2, focuses on the characters. Thor is given an arc. Who is he? Is Thor the god of thunder, or is he the god of hammers? Does the hammer make the god, or does Thor? The way Taika imbues comedy to help the audience get behind Thor and the story itself is fantastic. And the movie also knows when to be serious, especially when he's talking with Loki in the elevator, or Thor having his chats with Odin, knowing to find the strength in oneself. Everyone in this movie has a purpose, whether it's Thor's heroic nature that inspires Valkyrie to suit up again, or the realization that just because Asgard is no more, doesn't mean it's destroyed. Sure, the foundations are fucked, but the people remain. Asgard can be rebuilt for the better. Having power isn't what makes someone powerful, it's who you are that is power. Thor Ragnarok is, in my opinion, a top 5 MCU movie. Sadly, this isn't the case though for Thor Love and Thunder. Now, me personally, I think a lot happened behind the scenes for this movie, especially since it was filmed during COVID. However, aside from that being the case, the movie still sucks. It's like my least favorite MCU movie. And yes, it's weaker than Iron Man 3. Spoilers, I hate Iron Man 3. But another topic for another day. Thor Love and Thunder takes everything that's amazing about Ragnarok and simply farts. The movie is way too silly, especially considering the fact that you have Jane Foster returning and her character has cancer, or you have a villain like Gore who's dark and sympathetic, yet his character, unlike Hela, doesn't feel as though he should be in this movie. Now you're probably saying, wait a minute, but Ragnarok was funny. Yes, but the difference here is that Love and Thunder's comedic moments, they halt all sense of story and character progression, whereas Thor Ragnarok uses comedic set pieces as story scenes in disguise. The comedic moments in Ragnarok progress the story and the characters and the themes. Take for instance the play scene in Ragnarok. This is a perfect example of showcasing character and comedy. Not only is the scene a recap of the events of Thor: The Dark World, but it's hilariously performed. And yes, it's funny to see Sam Neill, Matt Damon, and Luke Hemsworth act like Shakespearean actors. But in this 1 to 2 minute scene, it showcases the narcissism and the self-love Loki has for himself. The play being told is not even how the events are played out in Thor 2, but for Loki it doesn't matter. The important thing to take from this is that we, the audience, understand that his character Loki loves being worshipped. The play also aligns with the larger theme of the movie, Asgard being this beautiful, majestic place, yet it's a place that was built on a lie. The lie being Hela and her need for war and conquest. Love and Thunder has a similar scene, but it's all just a joke, and it goes on way too long. The entirety of Love and Thunder feels jarring, and unlike Thor Ragnarok, the movie doesn't really have anything to say. Yes, the argument can be made that its main message is about love, but there's so much bullshit in the film that message just gets muddled. Therefore, what are we to do when it comes to Thor 5? Well, check it. I love Taika Waititi. I think his work on Ragnarok and his shows like, Our Flag Means Death or movies like Jojo Rabbit, they are and will remain fantastic. But I do think in regards to Thor 5, I think we need a new director moving forward. A new voice, if you will. Now, I don't have anyone in particular in mind when it comes to directing. The MCU is famous for picking up-and-coming, obscure indie directors for projects. Nevertheless, whoever is chosen to be the one to direct, here's what the movie should do. When it comes to tone, Thor 5 shouldn't be serious like Thor the Dark World or like Shakespearean like Kenneth Branagh's Thor, nor should it be insanely goofy and pointless like Love and Thunder. The movie needs to find a medium. Given Thor is now a dad, Gor's daughter, Love being his surrogate daughter, I think the best sort of influence to draw from is 2018's God of War. Basically, you have Thor training and preparing Love for possible danger or to simply care for herself if and when Thor ever dies or goes missing. You have Thor 5 be about fatherhood, and thus the theme plays in perfectly with the antagonist, that being of course Hercules. Following Thor's actions from Love and Thunder, making Zeus look like a bitch, Zeus is now ticked off and so he sends his most powerful son after the one who embarrassed him. I think Thor through his actions can showcase what it means to be a father and a protector, and in general a good person. Obviously we don't know much when it comes to this iteration of Hercules, but by simply judging the material we've gotten so far from Zeus is more than likely not going to win Best Father of the Year award. Perhaps Hercules mirrors to what Thor used to be like when growing up as the God of Thunder, the pressure and the expectations one has as heir of Asgard, and how that can really fuck someone up. But also, just like in God of War, yes, the game has serious moments, but you can also inject levity, much like the game does with Mimir, Brock, and Sindri. But the key thing that Thor 5 needs is to be consistent with its themes. And if it's going to have loads of action and comedy, have those sections progress the story and the characters at the same time, so that the story and the message doesn't feel ignored or, pushed to the side. The main focus is Thor and Love. In other words, inject the strategy Ragnarok uses, but it doesn't have to contain, Taika Waititi humor. Have the cast be small too. I think that was a huge issue with Love and Thunder as well. Too many characters to focus on and forgotten story arcs that were promised like Valkyrie's, love quest. No, that movie should have been strictly about Jane and Thor. So yeah, as always, I'm your majestic sayer of words, SuperCliff. And if you guys are new to the channel, then do me a solid by smashing that like and subscribe button, and also the notification bell so that you'll never miss out on an upload, and so that you'll always be kept up to date with your favorite top tier comics happening in the comic book world. Now tell me, what are your thoughts and opinions on the possibility of Thor 5? Are you guys excited for it? Do you want Taika to stay as the director? Are you excited for Hercules? Let me know down in the comment section below. And until the next video, peace. Giggity goo.